Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with a fresh dose of Skull and Bones content. Here we are at the somewhat beginning of Season 4, right? It's only been a couple of days here now. And we've got the Garuda, the new ship. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm kind of bad at pronouncing things in this game. But this thing, we've got it maxed out here. So we were in a PvP, a hostile takeover here, and a snow showed up, and just like, this is just a little overpowered. This is a little intense. Watch how quickly he goes down here. I will go through the build and everything that we're playing here, but this is a snow, right? Like, this is a tank ship that has a massive health pool, like probably I think the biggest in the game, right? Like that and the battle junk, right? It just like a few seconds, right? Like a few hits, a handful of hits. Now, granted, he was level 12 as well, but yeah, he had joined my takeover late there, and I just like went real quick, went and pushed the record button just to get it on there. But and then here's one where like I was able to like finish my own takeover, and then I went and joined somebody else's. So here's someone in a level 13 ship, and this is even worse now. Like, we just get these hits on, they like 3 or 4 hits maybe, and he's gone. Like, it's just like, I was like in disbelief myself that worked that quickly and easily. Now, you're not gonna, like, results may vary here, right? Like, if you go into, PvP, turn your PvP flag on, which I did play around in that space a little bit, right? If you go in there, like, those guys are, they know how to do PvP, right? Like, I'm not a huge fan of PvP, so a lot of you folks out there that like doing the PvP stuff, you're better at it than I am, right? But, this guy, he fought back here a little bit. Again, after he had respawned right from the takeover, and we also very quickly make really short work of him again. I actually didn't need this location, so I actually ended up leaving the takeover. He was so far ahead, but I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be that guy, and like, so same situation here. Here we are against another person in the, this new sniper ship, the Garuda. Now this guy here, he actually has Immortal Vessel on for his armor piece, so he gets this. We would have killed him there, right? Like, he died, but then since he's using that armor piece, he gets that shield for a few seconds, and makes you immortal for a little bit. The thing with that one is it's going to be, and I'm using Ouroboros, so I'll go through the whole build here too in a minute, but yeah, and like any other ship, just regular NPC right ship, like, they're gonna go down like crazy quick, right? But so he's gonna take us out here, right? So he's using the same ship, right? He's using long guns. Whether he's using the exact same ones as me, I'm not sure, but so he takes us out here. But what's gonna make the difference here is that Immortal Vessel armor piece. So we'll respawn at sea here. That Immortal Vessel armor piece is going to, it has a long cooldown for that invincibility, right? So as we respawn, he must have been taking damage from either the fort or these other ships. And so we're going to be able to take him out really easily, right? So like round 2 here, right? And since we're using Ouroboros, our severe damage is already healing. And so we're bringing that back. But since he's using Immortal Vessel, he's not going to be able to get his severe damage back. And so we're going to have this takeover 1 pretty easily right after he respawns. So I skipped ahead here. We are doing another one. This one I think had 2 other players in here. So here's someone in a battle junk, right? This is the newer tank ship from Season 3. Super powerful ship. And this is before I got my the Garuda all the way upgraded. So I actually had some demi cannons in the front. I was using fuel aisle demi cannons in the front, and they work really well in the front as well. So you do have to get the ship up to level 6 in upgrades in order to be able to use long guns in the front for all 6 gun ports. So and I'll show you which weapons I'm talking about, but my recommendation would be put something else in the front until you've got, I mean, you don't have to, but put something else in the front until you've got it, upgraded to 6. But because then you can use long guns and you get all 6 ports. But yes, you will have to progress through the Smuggler's Pass, is what I'm showing here. You'll need to unlock 45, tokens or slots, whatever. It doesn't even matter which sort of reward tree you pick. Just you need to total 45, and then you will get the blueprint for the Garuda. I should just stop trying to say it right. Garuda, right? Like that's gotta be close, right? So I'll craft another one here just to show you um like the progress you make as you upgrade. But the big thing here is the perk, which is you know this increased damage the further the target is away. Piercing weapons deal 20% more damage, which are pretty much every long gun out there, right? So like you can stack on top of that perk with furniture and long guns an insane amount, and that's how you're gonna be able to kill other players in 2 and 3 hits occasionally if you get those lucky well, not lucky, but like if you can get the critical hits is where the big key is going to be here. And I'll dig into that a little bit more with you and kind of show you, because I go and do some experimenting here later in the video where we go and like shoot some structures and stuff like that, so just to kind of show off the damage perks that you're getting. But so what I'll do is I'll go in here really quick, just show you the upgrade progress, right? So if you didn't know this on console, you can hold Y and it'll show you. I do wish that it showed you the material requirements underneath these to add each upgrade level, because it is expensive. Especially for the newer ships in the game, it's expensive to get these fully upgraded. You're going to need several of the higher end materials, right? But once you get to level 6, this revolver perk is also huge. Increases weapon damage by 30% when hitting a target with punctured. So punctured is a new status effect that's triggered from piercing weapons, so you're using long guns. And then the long gun's no longer a top deck weapon when equipped at the bow. They take away a little bit of reload and nerf it a little bit power-wise, but it really doesn't matter. It's not even like noticeable, to be honest. But I am going to call out, so there are some high-end materials that you're going to need as you upgrade through here, particularly these ones at the refinery. Eel sturdy ropes, I know I needed some. Worm volatile napalm. I think that was one of the first or second upgrades like that you progress through. And then I think some orca mechanism. I can't remember if I needed the Gannet saltpeter or whatever, but right. And then eel sturdy ropes for sure, I think were the last 1 or 2 upgrades. So, and some of them were like 4 and 5 of these items too. So if you're working your way towards getting this ship and then hoping to upgrade it quickly after you get it, you're going to want to craft some of those items. Just giving you a heads up, because those are the ones that take an hour a piece. So just that, heads up there. Right? So but here it is, the Garuda fully upgraded, rank 13, 6 of 6 upgrades, right? So here's Deadeye again, right? You do get a little bit of a defensive perk there when armor drops below a certain amount, but only for like a few seconds, right? So it's only somewhat helpful, right? Like if you're gonna die, you're gonna die in this thing. But yeah, being able to put long guns on the front and having it shoot out of all 6 gun ports is a lot of fun, right? And it's strong too. So but just really quick, I'm using Divine Thunder. You can see these, and then I put Skurlock's Long 9s in the back. Ouroboros and the Warhammer for my Ox weapon. And then here's just really quick the overview of furniture, but I'm going to go into each one of these, right? So if you just wanted the snapshot, you could pause it here, but I'm going to go into each one and kind of explain why I've picked these. And then I'm even going to show you like how much that furniture is buffing these weapons, right? So here is Divine Thunder. These are Season 3 guns, right? So these came from the Smuggler's Pass. So there's some other options if you don't have these, but the way to get these now, if you don't already have them, would be to either keep an eye on William Blackwood's weekly cycling stock, same with the bartender at the black market, and then probably legacy cash crates too, you could probably get as well. But if you notice, like when I switch from the the bow weapon to the like port, to the side guns, right, like the sides, there's a little bit more damage and a little bit better reload, right, because of that like nerf. But these are like 35% chance of when you hit a weak point to trigger an extra $3,000 electric, or 3,000 electric damage. Like this, like all of these like tiny little things like add up and make some of these critical hit points like just trigger huge amounts of damage. Right, so I put Skurlock's Long Nines on the back because they have piercing 3, right? So part of what you're going through for here is piercing weapons because you want to trigger punctured. So when you trigger punctured, they instantly take 5,000 damage on top of whatever you're giving them. And then I think Stormstruck works the same way too, where once you trigger Stormstruck, they take some damage. But then also if you're hitting them in a critical spot when you're triggering Stormstruck, you have that chance to also trigger that 3,000 damage lightning bolt, right? So it's just like, it's compounding with like, with this build, it's just going insane. And then I used Warhammer for Aux Weapon, but I think you could pick anything, right? Pick something you like, right? Warhammer's kind of close range, so maybe it's not the best choice. And then I am using Ouroboros because of the restoring severe damage. I think there's definitely other options out there. It's just like when I was doing takeovers, right? If I came up against somebody that was, a little bit more competitive, and I was able to, if they were able to kill me, I would at least be able to heal back some of that severe damage. Okay, so furniture. Julian's Guidance, right? Hitting a weak point increases the damage dealt by the next weak point hit within 8 seconds by 30%, right? So now we're suddenly, we talked about weak point damage already. Now we're getting another 30% on top of it if we can hit a second one fairly early on, right? So that's where we're seeing, us be able to kill, other player ships in 2 and 3 and 4 hits with guns, right? Like, it's crazy, right? Charge stores, I forget where this one comes from. I think this is last season. But yeah, the first one, the major furniture piece, that's coming from the Smuggler's Pass, right? The current Smuggler's Pass, so you just need to progress through that. And then this one, of course, I would check the codex where I got this. I think this came from last season, right? But triggering Stormstruck on a target increases next damage by 50%, right? So that's just even more. Like, once we trigger it, so it's just all adding up. Cannonball Charging Station. So these next two, these come from the Sea People Huntmaster. You need to buy these blueprints for Monstrous Teeth from the Sea People Huntmaster in Lenitra, I think it is, right? But increase the charge rate of Stormstruck, status effect, by targets already affected with punctured, right? So we're basically capitalizing on piercing and electric weapons. Same thing here with Amber Station. This one also comes from the Sea People Huntmaster. We're just increasing the charge rate of Stormstruck. And then Long Gun Works 1, you might not have expected this, but this is an oldie but a goodie. This increases secondary damage of long guns by 19%. This is going to buff your electric and piercing outputs, okay? So, so I'm just gonna call that out. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to increase secondary damage of electric weapons by 15%. So this is the last one too. Maybe this one might be the one that's also at the Sea People Huntmaster. So 2 of these came from there, and then the major furniture piece came from the current Smuggler's Pass, right? So I'm gonna take off all the weapons, or the furniture piece here, and kind of show you the difference in damage output. So if I'll go to one of the side weapons, right? So you can see here damage is 4,992. Previously it was 5,201 with those buffs from those furniture pieces. And then electric and piercing, you can see these are down to 713. So previously they were 995 each, right? So 995 electric damage and 995 piercing damage, right? So that's the extra bonuses that we're getting from some of those furniture pieces, right? Especially the Long Gun Works 1, right? So like the, standard furniture piece that you can craft at the carpenter, right? Like, so that's helping buff those. Fuel aisle. So this is the other weapon that I had in the front originally. These are the demi cannons that have this cool like ricochet perk. These are from season 2 maybe, I think, I can't remember. But they have piercing 3 as well. So this is what we used when we took out that battle junk really quickly. So these work really, really well as well. So if you don't really like the long game, that is long guns, these are a good option as well, right? So these are another one that were a seasonal weapon. So if you don't have them, you'll have to check the cycling stock from like William Blackwood and the black market, the bartender, right? And possibly like legacy cash crates, right? The La Peste long guns, the Perk 3, these are also a good choice if you don't have the Divine Thunders. Same thing here. These have piercing 2, just like Divine Thunders does, but they have the toxic, right? The like poison status effect, which people can't brace those or brace that damage, right? And it gets rid of your stamina really quickly. And then Skurlock's long 9s would be like maybe my third choice. I don't know. Like I was using them in the back just because I only had 3 Divine Thunders, right? But these, of course, you could buy these outright from Skurlock, so you could get these anytime if you need it as well. So like if you don't straight up don't have any of the other weapons yet, you could use these. But I would go for the poison cannons, right? So I did play around in the PvP space for a little bit, and I was able to pretty easily kill anybody except someone using the Garuda, this ship, right? And a couple of people were using the poison long guns, and those were the guys that were I blame it on them just being better at PvP than me, but they were the ones that were killing me. They were using the poison long guns, right? So this can be beat, but you have to, it can be beat by the same ship, right? So I'm kind of waiting for, I think there's maybe some countering you can do, but we'll have to play around in that space. But I was very easily able to solo kill the new sea monster with this build as well, right? And then, so yeah, just you do you, right? Like, but yeah, like didn't even call for help or anything. We were like in probably a couple minutes, right? I just showed the second half. But here I was doing a takeover, and I was one of those ones where I had my PvP flag on. I was kind of hoping another player would show up, because that was like pretty common if you're in the PvP space, right? If you've got your flag on, sometimes people come for you. But yeah, nobody joined my hostile takeover, but just kind of showing how quickly you can take out these like level 10 guys. Like it's like 2 hits most of the time, right? And then I'm gonna go for this tower over here, right? So quick like advice on doing takeovers, right? If you get quite a bit of progression for destroying towers, but watch as we get the second hit there, the second and third hits, right? 57,000 damage for that third one, right? So that's those perks of like after hitting, getting a hit after hitting a weak point, getting another weak point hit gives you a 30% boost, right? Like, so plus we're triggering like Stormstruck, and then there's like, so like it's just all at once. It was like 20,000 some, and then boom, 57,000, right? So that's what you're doing to another player if you're hitting them back-to-back critical hit points, right? So, and then here you can see even in these level 10 guys, I didn't even shoot their hulls, right? I went after sails, and if you're hitting their sails, you're still triggering Punctured and Stormstruck, so it was like super easy to like just like trigger those effects and then not even have to hit their hull to do big chunks of damage, right? So, and then I was just playing around with it. I was like, all right, like with how much damage I could do to structures, because structures are pretty easy to hit the weak points, I went and started plundering the Mega Fort, right? So this is the one that's the hardest. What is this, like level 16 or something? It's like recommended or like something stupid, right? So if you've ever tried plundering this one, it's pretty much impossible to do without like a big group of people, and what you have to do is like just like hang back most of the time. But here we were able to, I just was curious, like, all right, how much damage could I do to say like one of the structures, right? So we're gonna see the same thing, right? Skurlock's long 9s in the back, that's fine, but here with the storms, 55,000 damage that second hit, right? So getting those critical hits is what's huge, and you're going to trigger massive amounts of damage. So they're like, yeah. So I played around with this for a little bit, just like curiosity, right? This, you do have to consider, like, this is here's a level 14 enemy. It would help if I hit him, but yeah, when we do hit him, he gets taking pretty big damage, but this is the ultimate glass cannon, right? Like, it does not have a lot of health, so you can go down just as easily as, the next guy, right? So, like I said, like other people that were using the same ship with probably similar builds in that PvP space that were just probably better at PvP than I am, right? Like, I don't play it a lot, but like when I'm making a video, I like to go into that space just to like test the waters and see how the build is doing and standing up in that space. So But yeah, just like 58,000 there, 48,000 there, 36, right? Like, so like, we're actually working our way through this structure here pretty quickly. And so yeah, if you've ever plundered the mega fort, what is this, Olafston or whatever, I don't, you know, another word I can't say, you know how difficult it is to like take down specific specific pieces of the structure, right? And here we are, we've already worked our way, like in like a minute or so, we've worked our way halfway through this one, right? So I was just like blown away with like how much you could build into the piercing damage and the critical hit damage with, you know, furniture and stuff like that. And then I was also able to solo kill the new level 13 boss. I would say with the level 16 is the level 16 is a lot more fun. There's a lot more going on in that fight, but you do probably want to bring a couple of friends or wait till other people are doing that fight as well. But yeah, Vikram at level 13, we had no problem taking him out solo. You know, if you haven't done this fight yet, it's nothing too crazy. He spawns these buoys that trigger these like shields, right? And so piercing weapons are the way to go to try and bring down those shields. But my recommendation for the fight itself is you can see when he's like deploying those and when he's sending them out, you can actually destroy them before before they trigger like a shield on it. So you'll see the buoy in the water. My recommendation is going to be shoot as many of those as you can. They're also really good. They count as like a ship too. So like, yeah. So like, I'll even use my ox weapon to like go after them too. But they count as a ship, so you get like a ton of infamy, like to help you with your kingpin rank, right? To like rank up. So yeah. So here's some of those buoys, right? We're getting 190 on our kingpin for killing these, right? So that's huge. So that'll help you progress through Smuggler's Pass and Kingpin rank and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been going after those whenever he deploys those, because one, it's a huge amount of XP that you're getting for, you know, it takes only a couple of hits with something. And then two, you know, these other ones that I missed, right, are why there's these bubble shields out in the world here, right? So, but yeah, to bring those down, you'll want piercing weapons. So the fuel aisle, you know, demi cannon that I was using before worked great against them as well. But then again, like pretty much any long gun, because I think almost all the long guns have piercing on them, right? But yeah, you can see we're getting 190 per one of those buoys that we hit for our Kingpin rig. So that's part of why I was able to progress through the Smuggler's Pass so quickly and get the ship unlocked and upgraded, because I was doing this fight and I was going after those buoys when a lot of other people weren't doing that. But yeah, so you see I use our like conventional, right? We used the rockets against that shield and it did hardly no damage, but then when we hit it with the long guns, which have piercing, right, we're doing like 7,000 plus each time there. But that is going to be our video for the day, guys. We will finish off Vikram here as we end the video. Please make sure you are following the channel. I do have more Skull and Bones content planned. We also play some other games here and there as well, and I really do appreciate those of you that are following. You help me out a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, we will see you next time. Thanks again. Good night.
Your search for the artifact has confused your soul.